Good morning. If you're joining us on the recording, happy to have you. Happy to have all the people who are here live as well. Today is the day after Valentine's Day, so you may hear some reference to that. And also, we have had a big snow. So if you're doing this sometime when it's lovely out, please be grateful for that beautiful sunshine and warmth, which we don't have today. So we're going to start on our backs, doing an arrival breath sequence and tuning into our bodies. So please make yourself comfortable on the floor. You're welcome to put a blanket under your head if you have a neck that prefers a little bit of support. And you may put your legs long in a total shavasana if that feels good to you. If that feels a little stressful on your lower back, you can bend your knees, place the feet on the floor, and even let the knees fall in to touch each other, which is a nice position for releasing the lower back. And as you arrive here, begin to tune into your breath. I'm hesitating because I feel like I'm going to sneeze. I hope it doesn't happen. But feel your breath. Feel the parts of your body that make contact with the floor. And tune into the warmth of your body. As we breathe in, part of the job of the nasal passages, the long passage from our nose all the way down to our lungs, is to adjust the air. And one way the air is adjusted to be ready for our lungs is we warm it. We warm it with our body heat as it comes into our lungs. Another adjustment to climate and surviving in climate. Take a moment to tune into the lower part of your body, of your torso, the belly and the guts and the hips and all the sexual energy of the pelvis, where all this lovely heat is generated. The furnace of our belly and our guts, taking that food, warm or cold when we eat it, and converting it to this lovely body heat. And feel that body heat, the heat of your body warming all the way to your fingers and toes, keeping them warm and alive. As warm-blooded animals, we have to stay warm. And we have this incredible, miraculous system for doing so. And then we have all the cultural, technical adjustments that add to that, our clothing and our furnace. This week, my furnace went out for one day, one of those very cold days, and I felt threatened and frightened. But I was able to get a technician out, and he fixed the furnace, and I had this enormous wave of gratitude, which has not yet faded, that I have a furnace and a warm house. I'm still enjoying that luxury and wealth of a warm house where I can control the heat. I know it will fade. I will become complacent again, but take a moment and feel that gratitude for your clothing and your shelter and your heat. Heat of your body, the heat of your technology that surrounds you. Lengthen that breath and let it flow from the base way up through the ribs and all the way up to the top of your lungs in a long inhale. And let your shoulders separate with that inhale, and the shoulder blades ground onto the floor with the exhale, flatten to the floor. Make the exhale just as long as the inhale, and it can be even longer. That's one of our best ways for relaxation and calming the nervous system, is a long, even breath, or a long breath with the exhale even longer than the inhale. Calms the autonomic nervous system, centers us, and helping with this is the grounding, feeling your body touching the floor, the weight of you responding to gravity, the connection to the earth. Let every exhale help you to soften. Soften those muscles as they conform to the floor. Soften your stress. Soften your self-criticism. Every inhale, fill you with that warm, fresh air, strength, oxygen, energy. And every exhale, let you soften, open, release. To begin some motion, let's all tent our legs, bend at the knees, and then bring the knees towards the belly. With a gentle bend, leaving the hips on the floor for now. Feeling what happens when you do that, and feel your breath in this position. How your belly rising may make the knees and the thighs move, and as you breathe out, you can bring those knees in a little bit more. And then rock back and forth across the hips, exploring the low pelvis, the low back, feeling that pleasant weight and energy of your low belly and your hips, that fat, adipose tissue we collect on our bellies and our hips, also is a source of warmth, energy, and fuel, cushioning. Lovely. Feel it, how it protects your bones from the cold, hard ground. And you can move your knees away from your body and towards your body with this motion. So it's both up and down and crosswise. Let your hips lift just a little bit off the ground, curling up to explore more parts of your back. And place those feet on the floor, and we'll do the same thing with the upper body. You can take your hands together and support the back of your head, support your neck, and then roll back and forth across the shoulders, lifting the head if you choose as you do so, feeling the mid-back. If you lift the head and the shoulders, you'll get higher up on your back, and then come back down, head towards the floor, feeling the shoulders. The hips will probably also move here, depending on the flexibility of your back. May get a little extra action. Just feeling this crosswise massage across those long supportive muscles up and down by your spine. Then you can release those hands and place them by your side. We'll work with a pelvic tilt and begin right away to add a little bit of action to that by raising the arms overhead towards the floor. You may have your hands so that your hands face with the back of the hand towards the floor, then exhale and bring the hands down, press the belly to the floor. Inhale, belly rises, arms rise, Or you can take your hands so that the palms of your hands face each other and see how that feels on your shoulders, checking in with a different motion of the shoulders. We begin to add a little heat and action here, really pumping that belly and those arms together with the breath. Actually, the breath can be we're like fireplace bellows here, with the belly rising and inflating, the lungs inflating, and then the action of the handles, our arms flattening it all out with a, doesn't have to be with a whoosh, but with an exhale. Your hands, of course, may not come to the floor, just depending how your shoulders are today. And the next step we can add is with the inhale, lifting the hips slightly off the floor. You can keep the arm action or drop the arm action if that's one too many pieces. Roll the hips down with the exhale, flatten the belly to the floor again. Really feeling this whole rolling motion through the spine and checking in with that spine. See if there's any sensation, any pain, achiness, and giving that special attention by directing or imagining you can direct your breath to that. And also, if you find an area that's touchy or sore this morning, complaining, move slowly through that area. This motion can be slow or quick. You can do this motion with 2 breaths for each step if you want. So you can roll up with an inhale and an exhale, and roll down with an inhale and an exhale. That will perhaps really help you tune in to the motion in your legs, that pushing through the feet to lift the belly and the hips wakes up both the muscles in your lower leg and the muscles in your upper leg. Back and the front, you feel the back working, the hamstrings working, the glutes working. And as you rise, if you begin to rise towards a little bit more height, depending on if you're ready or not, you'll begin to feel the stretch across your big quadriceps. Let's finish with the next breath and come to the floor here. And bring the right knee in towards the chest, leaving the left leg with the foot on the floor, and then slide that heel long on the floor and feel what's going on there. What's going on as you stretch one leg long and bring the other towards your belly. And if it pinches, if you find pulling this leg in towards your belly creates a pinch, you can take it out a little bit more to the side, away from your belly. So it's coming more towards the side of your ribs and your armpit. You can explore that change, feel what's right in your hips today. Take a good long breath with the leg pulled in and observe how that leg moves with your breath and how the breath feels with just that one leg pulling in. Then we'll place that leg, I had the right on the floor, and bring the left leg up, and this time we'll bring the left leg all the way in towards the chest and straighten the right leg as much as is possible and correct for you today. The correct amount is what feels good, what feels stretchy, extending, perhaps a wee bit of challenge, but no pain here. And then the same exploration on this side, how that compression with that knee pulling in towards your body, perhaps a little to the side, how that hip feels, and how the breath feels. Let's lift the right knee back so we have both knees there, and begin to draw some circles with your knees. Let's keep both knees together to begin with, circling the back of the pelvis. It can be a clock motion. Picture yourself going from, actually I'm going noon to 3 to 6 to 9, noon to 3 to 6 to 9, take it the other direction, anti-clockwise, counterclockwise. Feel what's going on there. I hope that feels good, that loosening. Observe what's going on and take the knees apart and let them draw their own separate circles here. Let's see how that feels. How does it feel pulling those knees apart from each other and bringing them back? Your hands on your knees can help you feel the muscles moving in your legs. The hands are kind of going for a ride. They're directing perhaps or steering, but they're not providing the power. The power is in those leg muscles, moving those legs around. See what's going on. They're beginning to build that warmth and activity. Let's take a full stretch on the ground, way up. Stretch through the heels and out through the fingertips, out through the fingertips, and stretch the right arm and the right leg apart from each other, the left arm and the left leg, and then do the opposites, the right arm and the left leg. So we're stretching kind of across the body as well. And the opposites, the right leg and the left arm, way up we have our feet flexed here. So it's from the heel to the fingertips. And we'll bend those knees and bring them onto the ground. Get settled here. And let's take the right leg straight up. Right leg straight up. Leave the left leg bent. And draw some circles with the foot. I love this because I can look over at your kind of arrangement of everybody and see these feet waving in the air. That's very entertaining. And then you can flex and stretch the foot, opening those toes. Feet may have gotten cold and stiff. They're on the floor, the coldest part of the house. And perhaps you've been out walking in the snow and they're tense to keep you from slipping as well as cold. So give those feet some love here. And while we're here, you can grab the back of your thigh and just give a little gentle pull on it, leaving those hips very heavy on the ground. Just exploring what's up with the hamstring today. Flex and stretch that leg. Bend the leg and pull it in from the back of the thigh with a bent knee. Trying to leave those hips heavy on the ground again. Then straighten the leg, and it may be back here, that's okay. Pull it up a little bit, see what's going on there. Place that leg back on the ground. We'll take the other one straight up and start with those ankle circles, warming up the ankles and the feet. Both directions. Flexing and stretching the toes as you move. Then flex the heel up as far as you can and point the toes up. You do not have to crunch up the toes. You can leave the toes relaxed and just, it's more stretching the front of the foot than actually the toes. You can add the toes if you want, but that can be very crampy. So have a care there. Flex up, push up through the heel, push up through the front of the foot, and then let's bend that knee and pull it in. Straighten it and see what's there. This is early in our class. You may be very stiff. That's okay. We're going to get some heat going and loosen up a little bit today. Not just exploring and the beginning of what's going on with the back of that leg. These are, when I first took yoga, they would call this line from the heel to the top of the hip on the back of the leg, the lifeline. And encouraged very much getting these lines long and open. The belief was that they were important energy channels in the body. And then pull it in with a bent leg once again. Place that foot back on the floor. We'll do some ab work to really get some heat going. And this ab work will have levels like we usually do. So We'll start by interlacing your hands and take them in the counterintuitive position. There's one way that most right-handed people do it. Unlace and go the other way with the other index finger on the front or on the top. Then place those hands behind the head, and that's your support system, keeping the neck comfy. It's not to lift with. We're not lifting with the arms, we're lifting with the belly. And for this work, we have 3 positions. The position 1 is feet on the floor, and the action is going to be to lift the head and chest straight up towards the ceiling with an in-breath. Take an out-breath and relax halfway down, then lift up with an in-breath towards the right leg. Exhale to the center. Inhale towards the left leg. Inhale towards the center and relax. So inhale up. Exhale towards the leg. Inhale to the center. Exhale towards the other leg and relax down. And this is the basic action. There are 3 leg positions. With the legs on the floor is the most approachable. Good work for your belly, good work, whatever, however, perfect for some of us. Some people may want some more challenge, and that would be taking your legs to tabletop position. And you can do a few rounds with the tabletop position and return to legs on the floor, or take a break. Or you can try 1 round and think, that's ridiculous, I don't want to do that. Exhale up, inhale, exhale towards the leg, inhale halfway down, exhale towards the opposite leg, and inhale all the way down. Or you can take the feet straight up. And if you have, this is really not very useful unless you can get your feet pretty much perpendicular. So if your feet are like this when you straighten your legs up, that's not going to be very comfortable or helpful. But if you have the room in your hamstrings to get your feet up, you might want to try your feet straight up. So inhale up, exhale to the center, inhale towards the leg, exhale to the center, inhale towards the opposite leg, inhale towards the center, exhale down. So 3 positions. I'm going to work with the bed with my legs here. Pardon me. I'll go through, I think, 5 more rounds. Take a break whenever you need it. Work at your own pace. Remember, you can have your feet on the floor as well. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, center. Inhale towards the opposite side. Exhale, center. Come down. Inhale up towards one leg. Towards the other leg. Center and down. Inhale up in the center. Towards one leg. Towards the other leg. And down. Inhale up. Exhale. I may have gotten my inhales and exhales completely mixed up as I work here. And that's not a problem really, because some people like to do the effort on the inhale. And some people, I'm done for now, like to do the effort on the exhale. The point of the breath is to help you keep the motion and the rhythm. So forgive me if that seemed like a little bit of a confusing moment there. You keep the movement going, use your breath as it feels most natural and comfortable to you. Now inhale, heel toe the feet out to the edges of the mat. Let's counter that belly work by doing a little bit of a gentle twist with windshield wipers. And of course, you can do this with one leg at a time, letting one leg, like the right leg, fall in as the left leg stays up, then reversing that motion. Or you can take both legs to one side if that's comfortable for you. Feeling this gentle sideways twist of the belly, helping to lengthen and release from the contraction work we just did. Now, the breath here is fairly simple. You inhale to the top and exhale to the sides. For me, I find inhale on the work, the effort, to be the most useful. Exhale on the release, which is a little bit opposite from when we do a pelvic tilt, where the inhale relaxes the belly up and the exhale takes the belly down with a work towards the floor. So you see, it is something that can be taken in both directions. We've been working a lot with the concept of duality, strength and softness, Sukha and Siri. Not Siri, Sira. Siri is on the phone. Sira. And it's interesting that, let's come with the knees straight up, that the breath, the power of the breath can be used in all those directions. We can feel a relaxation with the inhale and work with the exhale, or vice versa. All right, so here we are. We're going to do a little bit of work with the arms. Now, we've done this once before. I first learned it from my teacher, Minta, and then Kat, another of my teachers, did exactly the same work this weekend. And I'd like to go through it again because we're going to do something else that Kat taught me this for the first time. I heard about for the first time this weekend. I'd like to go through with you. So let's start with the arms straight up. Let's see, how are we going to do this? Let's take one arm out to the side and take the right arm straight up. So my left arm is out in a T, my right arm is straight up. With that hand, reach up towards the ceiling. Let your shoulder lift off the ground. Not that the head can stay relaxed. And then place deliberately the shoulder blade back on the ground. Feel the arm coming into its home in that shoulder socket. And then place the top of your arm, the bicep, onto the ground. Then relax the front of your arm, the lower part of your arm to the ground. And then the hand, so that the hand, the back of the hand is wide open on the floor. We'll do the same thing with the left arm. Take the left arm and reach up to the ceiling. And from there, let that arm really stretch up so that the shoulder blade's lifted off the floor, lifting the wide palm up to the top of the floor, up to the top of towards the ceiling. And now let that shoulder relax and come flat onto the back of the shoulder blade on the floor, and feel how that arm is now nested into its shoulder socket. Then we're going to bend the elbow and place the back of the top of the arm, the bicep, on the floor. Actually, the tricep, I'm sorry, that's the tricep on the floor. And then the lower arm, and finally the back of the hand. Now in this position, feel those hands reaching out wide open like sea stars, all the fingers spread apart. And imagine that you can lengthen the thumbs. Feel your thumbs, both hands, feel your thumbs, and imagine you can lengthen those out away from the palm. Take a different breath, inhale, and imagine you can lengthen your pointer fingers, your index fingers out away from the palm. then the middle fingers. This may feel awkward, that's perfectly okay. And then the fourth finger, the ring fingers, or the third finger, I guess that is. And finally the pinkies, which are not very strong on most of us. Feel if you can lengthen those away from the palm. All right, then relax the arms flat on the floor. Let's come to a seated position, and you can come up by rocking and rolling along the spine, or by rolling to one side and pressing up. Find yourself something to sit on so you're comfortable. It could be a rolled up blanket, it could be a block or a cushion. Find yourself a comfortable seat. We're going to do a little more of this hand exploration. To begin with, take your hands together and rub them together. Really feel some heat in here. Create some heat there. Sometimes after you do this, it's really comforting to put the palms over the eyes. We're not going to do that right now. I'm just pointing it out. That feels good. Feel those hands warm up. And then let's look at our hands. Open them wide like this and see how flat the palms can be. How flat. This is how we have been putting our hands on the floor, with these wide, flat palms. Now, some people have a lot of shape. There'll still be a cup in the center that you can't get rid of. No matter how much you try, you can't flatten your palm. That cup exists in the center. And some people's hands flatten more than that. Some people's hands, I happen to have a little bit of a cup in my hands, so that's what I'm showing. But some people's hands come very, very flat. This is not a right or wrong thing. It's just the way your hands are. But something interesting has been proposed for yogis and wrist problems and strengthened hands. We've been using this very flat, open hand to put our hands down and bear weight. And people have wrist problems. Well, we're always going to have a little bit of fatigue with wrists as we put weight onto our hands, because we're strengthening. Our hands aren't used to carrying our weight. Doing this is a strengthening move. The wrists get tired. But to avoid the carpal tunnel, one of the things that we can do, and we've talked about this to some extent, is to place weight onto the fingertips, the knuckle joints, and this nice strong area at the base of the thumb. Let's everybody see if you can bring your pinky and your thumb together and pretend you're saying, I'm 3 years old. I'm 3 years old. I'm 3 years old. I'm 3 years old. So when you do this, if you look at one of your hands, you'll see that you've created a channel through here. It's right through the center. There's these two kind of beefy, muscular parts of the hand. Even if you're a person with fairly flat hands, that you'll have this beefy, muscular place. And this cup is very much exaggerated. It becomes this tunnel. The carpal tunnel nerves run right through this channel. The suggestion that's been offered now, the advice, is to change the hand positions on the floor so that rather than spreading our hands wide open, we modify that slightly. The fingers are still spread, but they're not as far spread, so that we can hold this little channel here and have whatever beefy, muscular part, meaty part that you have on your hands. You may have very delicate hands. You may have very strong hands. It just depends. But we want to use whatever of this nice, strong part of your hand to be weight bearing. So let's come to hands and knees and explore that a little bit further. As I say, this is new information that I have just gotten, and it's kind of like science. Science is always changing, always looking for a better, more efficient and safe way to do things. And that's the science we're trying to apply here to our yoga. So place your hands on the floor in front of you in hands and knees, and you can, of course, pad your knees as much as needed. And first of all, spread the fingers, but not to take your fingers to their widest width, and then bring them in about a third to a half of that, so that they're not as wide as they can possibly be. Feel your weight in the very, very tips of your fingers. Press down in the very, very tips of your fingers. And then press down into the base of your fingers where those knuckles are, the bottom knuckles, the base knuckles. And then take the weight to the back of your hands and really, really feel that strength at the base of your thumb, and see if you can connect with the same strength on the outside of your palms. And feel if you can use this as your weight bearing. Let your weight come forward. You might want to walk your knees back as if you're in a half plank. You can have your elbows bent a tiny bit or perfectly straight here. You can go back and forth, feeling the weight on your hands, just exploring this change. And I will try to remind you of this as we work. We don't do a huge amount of weight bearing in this class, but let's take a moment and bring your hands up and give them a shake, because we've been working on this quite a bit here. And we don't want from the work with our hands to over fatigue them. But we'll start with cat-cow with hands on the floor. And this is just a chance to experiment and explore this little adjustment in your yoga and see how it affects you and get feedback from your arms and hands. I found it very useful myself, but we have to try. We learn new things. So take your hands back and onto the floor. Adjust the width of the fingers so it's about half, maybe a third, depending on how wide your fingers go. And press those nail beds, the fingertips into the floor, and the knuckles, the base of the thumb. And then see if you can keep that little hollow place, that little channel or tunnel in through your wrist. And from here, let's do some cat-cows, letting the exhale take us up high, and the inhale bring the chest forward. I like to bend my elbow slightly and pull the arms back isometrically, let my chest come through. Exhale with that hollowing cat shape, and then inhale forward. One more time. I'm going to take my left heel back at the first so you can see what's going on. I have my toes turned under and press back through that foot, finding the strength and the lengthening of the whole back of the leg, especially activating the calf. Then with an inhale, lift it parallel to the floor. Keeping that toes down shapeless, take it out to the side. That's a small movement. Take it back, bend the knee, press it up. Take it long, take it out, take it back to the back, bend the knee, press it up. One more time, lengthen, slightly out to the side, back into the plate, back into place. Bend the knee, foot towards the ceiling, and press up. Let's hold that for just a moment and take it down. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Now I'm using my fist on this hand because I've had a sore wrist and I'm still coping with that. So right knee, right foot comes out, press back through the heel, feeling the release in the heel all the way down the leg. Use your breath into the sensation. We forget so often to stretch those calves. Then lift the leg. Feel the stretch through your whole back and take it to the side. Small movement. Take it back straight. Bend from the knee. Press it up. Go through that 4 times. Lengthen. The side. Return. Bend. Press up. Lengthen. Press out through the heel. A little teeny bit out to the side. Come back. Bend it. Press it up. One more time. Lengthen. Up. Back. Bend. Lift. Lift. Feel the glutes are really strong. And stretch it out. And bring it back into place. Let's come all the way up onto the knees. Weights off the hands. Shake the hands out again. Rotate your wrists. Hands come all the way to the sky and down. Let's place the hands in front of us and walk the knees back so we're in a half plank. Lower to the floor so you can come down chest, chin, knee, chest, chin, belly, or bend your elbows and like a half of a push-up, lower to the floor. I like to keep the blanket under my pubic bone. If that makes you more comfortable, please do so. And let's start by bending both arms and pressing the forehead, letting the forehead relax onto the arms. Take a deep breath into the lower back. 3 times. 2 more big breaths. Feel that back broaden. Now lift the right leg and turn the knee in towards the other knee. So if you have your toes, your foot at a right angle, you're going to rotate from the hip so that the heel is facing a little bit out, a little bit towards the outside, away. The knee is a little bit in. Then lift the other leg and do the same thing. It's like instead of Donald Duck feet, we're going for pigeon toes, the toes that face in. So now we have that slight inner rotation of both legs. Press those legs strongly into the floor. You'll feel your knees may come right off the floor if you do this. It depends on, again, your legs as usual. Then let's come onto our elbows, up into Sphinx pose. And if this is too much for your back here, you can adjust it by moving your arms, your elbows forward. So you have less stress, less bend in your back. Also, taking the elbows wider can help. So adjust here so that you have a comfortable place to find your Sphinx pose. From here, we're going to do a little bit of a cat-cow motion. Keeping the legs strong, we're going to exhale. Let's exhale first. Let the head fall forward and a little bit of a curve in the back. Very small motion. With the inhale, heart reaches up and forward through the shoulders. Eyes can be towards, you're probably looking at the floor still, but perhaps 4 or 5 feet in front of you. Exhale, relax the head forward. Inhale, from the belly up, rise and bring the heart forward. Now find a place between those 2 motions where you can keep a lift. Again, adjust the arms if you need to. And relax that head forward again. Let that neck release, the chin fall forward. Belly is still alive, legs are still alive. Then take the head over to the left. The head is released, but leaning to the left so that you're stretching that right side of your neck, keeping the opposite shoulders, the shoulders stay in place. Feel that neck release. Send your breath into whatever sensation you can find. You can adjust by moving your chin, feeling where the best stretch for you is. Then take the chin back to the center. Inhale, exhale, and try the other direction. Again, the shoulders are still lifted up and back, finding the release in the neck. Using your breath to pour into that sensation of release. And with an inhale, take the chin back to the chest and release the elbows back down, placing the forehead on the nested arms. Breathe. Now let's pull the elbows apart from each other in this position so that it's the hands that are on top of each other. And place your forehead on those hands. So my hands are on top of each other rather than the arms crossed. The hands are nested. And find your hip bones. Come into relationship with your hip bones from this position. I keep your head facing center. I'm turning so you can hear my voice. Forehead is on the palms. Feel your hip bones, or where your hip bones would be, on the floor. Feel your strong legs reaching with that slight inner rotation we set up. If you need to adjust to refine that, please do. Front of the feet are on the floor and the belly is lifted. Let's lift that right leg again. Reach it away from the body and up as far as you can, still keeping that hip bone on the floor. And this will be a small motion, maybe very small, but it still work, you'll feel it. And exhale down. The left leg now reaches away from the body and up as far as you can. Again, it's a small motion. Hip bone stays on the floor. 2 breaths here. Now, if this was enough work for you, you're going to repeat that same exercise, same asana. If you can do a little more and you want to try both legs, let's take the arms out to the side like Superman cape position. Palms to the floor. Take the forehead onto the floor. We always apologize to people with big noses here. If you want to try both legs, really engage the belly. Feel the strength of your legs and the belly. Legs are pulling together, knit together like a cobra tail. And with an inhale, lift both legs off the floor. 2 breaths. And release them back down. If you're doing one leg at a time, continue. We'll do this one more time with both legs. Both legs. off the floor with an inhale. Hold 2 breaths and release down. Now rock back and forth. Refold the arms if you have taken them to Superman position. Rock back and forth across the hips. Deep breath into the back of the pelvis there. Let's push up to hands and knees, paying attention to those hands with some of the new information. And we'll do 3 cat-cows. Now from here, we're going to come all the way to standing. So take your time, adjust as you need to, and fold the blanket and place it to the side so it's ready. I'll fix our cameras. Maybe you've warmed up. Maybe you're ready to Straddle there. I hope so. Okay, so come to your mats. Let's start in forward position and go find mountain pose. Feel the feet on the floor. Feel the legs. Feet are hip width distance parallel. Usually parallel feet here in yoga refers to the outer edges of your feet. So they actually may feel a wee bit turned into you. And reach up, finding that alignment. Alignment here, we're calling for the shoulders to reach back over the hips, the top of your head to reach high, and then the ears to move back towards the shoulders. Deep breath. And then take the arms all the way up, reach beyond the clouds, and bring the light into your heart with an exhale. 3 times, 2 more times. Inhale. Come to the center. And all the way up. Inhale. And come to the center. Let's step the arms wide with feet pointing out. Slightly about 45-degree angle, hands on hips. And 45 maybe, no, 45 seems about right. But if you need to have your feet more forward, find the place where you feel stable. My feet are about, not quite 3 feet apart, and I have long legs. So adjust how is comfortable to you. Let's place the hands on the thighs and allow ourselves to take a kind of backward motion with the hip backwards and down, just exploring what's in this horse stance for us today. How does that feel? What's going on? You can settle onto your horse. Take it as deep as feels possible. Feels stretchy for you. And then pushing through the heels, lifting through the glutes. Lift all the way up to 5-pointed star. We're going to flow between those 2 poses. Exhale, knees come out wide, down to horse. Inhale and lift. 3 more times. Exhale, all the way down. Release at the bottom if you can, and pulling it all in and up and then out. 1 more time, release down. 1 more time, lift all the way. Then let's heel toe the feet together and step to the front of the mat. You can wiggle your feet back and forth, rustle yourself back to mountain pose. Deep breath. Let's do some shoulder shrugs here. Up through the shoulders, back, shoulder blades together and down the back. Inhale, you can sigh it out if you like. 1 more time. Then hands on hips. And we're going to step back to Crescent Lunge. I'm going to use my outside the leg that's away from me right now, which is my right leg, stepping back. And I did this on purpose. Usually I like you to see the open side, but there's method in my madness here. Find that bend in the front leg. Of course, if that position with the foot is iffy for you, you can place that heel down and be in a warrior one stance. If you can, keep that toe bent. Let's lift up here, straighten both legs. Exhale to cactus, press out through the back heel. 3 times. Lift up, feel those legs working towards each other and down. Hands on hips, we're going to lower all the way to the ground. I didn't ask you to bring your blocks, but I'm going to ask you to set up with your blocks at the front of the mat now, if you have blocks. And you can lower to the ground with your hands on your thigh, or you can take your hands onto your blocks or even onto the floor. And you can place that blanket back in position to lower your knee to. We'll lower all the way to low lunge. Let's start in the collected, strong, upright position. And then with your hands on your blocks, or perhaps on your front knee or front thigh or the floor, we're going to release the hands down, and you may wiggle your knee back to find the best place to find that released lunge where the weight is falling, I don't want to say falling, is releasing downward. To find that stretch between the legs and along the front of that thigh that's reaching back. Breathe into that sensation. And with your breath, come back up so the weight is over the back knee. Straighten the front leg. Toes turn up. You can bring your blocks back if you're using blocks, 1 block or 2 block. And we're going to release forward to find a good stretch in Hanuman Asana. You may have a very nice stretch in this position. In that case, you're going to keep this hip working down and back, and the back lifting long. And if you have more to give from that position, you can release your chest towards your thigh. Finding that nice stretch along the back of the leg, using the breath to pour into that stretch. We were working with Ujjayi breath last week. If you were here and would like to come back to that, use that Ujjayi breath now. My teacher Amy said this week, she was teaching Ujjayi breath, and she referred to it like an echo in a cave, or the sound of a seashell when you hold it to your ear, that hollowness created by the constriction at the back of your throat. Let's release or lift up from Hanuman Asana. Come back to the low lunge, and we're going to work on that twist again. If you place a block to the inside of the front foot, you can place your hand on that block, or if you think you have plenty of room, you can place it on the floor. This is very comfortable and easy for you. You can reach to the floor with this. Start with your chest oriented towards the floor, in line with the leg. And open the opposite arm, the arm that's not pressing into the floor, the same arm as this bent leg, same side. Then from here, let's return that arm towards the floor very consciously. Trace it up the leg and across the chest to find the open twist. From here, you can also place that hand in your hip joint and help pull that hip back to open. That was kind of backwards. We probably should have placed that hip before we opened. Try to remember to do it this different way on the other side. 2 breaths here. And release. Release. Take the weight back to that knee. Standing knee. Pull the front foot forward so you have a very nice strong platform. And then bring that weight towards the front foot to stand up and move forward to the front of your mat again. Wiggle the feet and the legs, march back and forth a little. Take the arms all the way past the clouds and bring the spring down to your heart. One more time, all the way up. And bring it down. I'm going to come to the other edge of my mat, the other side. You do not have to reverse. I just want to show you the twist on the open side again. So please, if you just want to stay in the same position, we're going to come from the mountain and place the right foot back into the opposite side of Untitled Asana. Line the hip points up towards the front of the mat. Feel the legs working towards each other from front to back and from side to side. Feet strong on the ground to lift the arms and find that Untitled Asana pose. Remember, this is Crescent Lunge. So if your shoulders are able and you can lift up through your belly, you can lean those shoulders back just a wee bit to form that crescent. Breathe. And we'll flow here. So straighten that front leg. Elbows come down. If you have the back heel down in Warrior One position, you can still do this with us. Straighten. And back to Warrior. Back to Crescent Lunge. Straighten the front leg. Back to Crescent Lunge. One more time. Really reach out through that back heel. Then both hands come to the thigh and then to the block or the floor so we can lower to a low lunge here. Let's start by standing up tall in a supported position. Finding our balance and strength here. Deep breath. And on the exhale, allow that front foot to creep forward if need be and find a deeper lunge. See if you can keep these hips rolling front rather than opening to the side. We're opening long ways. Feel that release. You reach all the way from the toes up through the front of this thigh, then all the way up to the head. Breathe, send your breath into whatever release you're finding here. You're always welcome to adjust this pose by shortening your stance, bringing your hips out, or coming out entirely when you need to. And then we'll take our hands forward. If you have blocks, you can take them back as you straighten. Take the weight over that back knee and straighten the left foot. This time, if you did the right foot before, the opposite foot, lifting the heel, finding the straight back. Again, pull that working hip back into position and feel where is the best stretch for you along the back of this reaching leg. It may be you need to bring your chest forward. It may be you're just fine with an uplifted back. When you find that stretch, You can breathe on your in-breath, stretch the back long, all the way, shoulders up on the back, head lifted, all the way from the hip bones up through the top of the head. With the exhale, exhale and pull the belly in, pull Mula Bandha in, and release into whatever depth of stretch you can find. When you find that depth, you're welcome to release your head as well. Keep the back long though. See if you can keep your back long. And lift the back if you've moved forward. Bend that front leg and pull it in. Actually, let's not pull it in too far because we're going to do that same opening. And I somehow have confused myself here because I'm supposed to have this foot forward. So forgive me, I'm having a wopsy day because I want to show you again the opening from this angle. So I'm opening towards you. So take this hand, the same hand as the knee that's bent, and place the thumb into the hip joint and pull it back into place so that your hips are in line. Find that strong forward bend, and then we're going to do the twist. You can take a block and place it by the front foot on the inside of the foot on the floor, and then we'll start by taking the arms straight out away from us, the stretching arms, same arm as foot. Remember to use some of the new wisdom on the hand that's supporting your weight. And then release that hand down and bring it up along the leg, along the body to find that opening. I'm going to release to the floor here. That's better for me. See if you can keep this hip still moving back. Find this twist and breathe into it. It could look more like this, and that's absolutely fine. And release the hand back down. Take the weight over the back foot so you can pull this front foot into a strong position. Weight onto the front foot and come all the way up. Let's take a moment. I've got to see if I'm missing any of the good stuff I had for you. And come to the front of the room again. We'll do one forward bend in straddle position. So take your feet into a wide position. Have your block handy in front of you. Get ready. Feet are parallel here rather than facing out at an angle. They're lined up with each other. Hands on hips, and be aware again of that bendy place right at the hip joint. We'll start by coming to a flat back. That can be with hands on your thighs or your shins or on the block. But feel a flat back position. And if you are a person who does not want to invert because of glaucoma or high blood pressure or any other issue, you can stay here, working those hips back, head forward, top of the head forward, shoulders back, just like the front of a downward dog. And you can work your feet farther apart to get more stretch. If you have no problem with inversion and you wish to come farther forward, you can reach your hands down towards a lower height of the block or perhaps the floor. And if you're on the floor, let's try walking the hands forward towards the front of a downward dog. So you don't have to move. I'm going to move to give you a side vision of what this would look like. So hands are coming forward. It's just like a downward dog, but your feet are very, very wide apart. And see how that feels. Breathe into this. Keep the hips working back. The feet stay strong on the floor. Give a care to your hands if your hands are on the floor. What shape are they in? Do you want to use Ujjayi breath here? And everyone, let's walk back towards a straight back position. Really find the strength of your breath. Heel toe the feet towards each other. Place the hands on the thighs or the hips. Pull in the belly really strong and let's roll up slowly. Readjusting to the vertical. That was our inversion for the day. Let's do a one-legged balance. So figure out what is your support today. Mine is the mantelpiece. A wall is excellent. Back of a chair is fine. A couch, whatever you have that you can keep handy to support you, give you both physical and psychological strength in this position. So let's find those feet on the floor, and the leg that's closest to your support system is going to be your standing leg. So strengthen that leg. Really feel all four corners of the feet on the floor. You can lift the toes and step them down. We're going to do a little flow in this pose today. Take your hand on your hip and then let that outside leg be completely free and light. And lift the knee up as high as you can towards the chest. And then take that foot back behind you. Exhale. And bring that knee up towards the chest. Inhale. And take it back. Foot behind you. If you want to try your balance, lift that. Everyone, let's lift the outside arm, the same arm as leg. And if you want to explore your balance, you can lift the other arm. You're also welcome to take the arms out to the side for this, like a tightrope walker would do. I find them lifted is actually more helpful, but it might not be the same for everyone. Moving that leg back and forth. Let's go 3 more times. Take a break whenever you need to. Use your breath. Great place for Ujjayi breath. Then bring that foot down. Hands on the hips. Nice work. That's a hard one. Let's turn around the other way. And as usual, the motion can be small or big. Maybe your motion's lifting here and going back there. That's absolutely perfect. If that's where your range of motion and comfort is today, that's exactly where you should be. So settle yourself. Let's take another deep breath here. Shoulder shrug. Find those feet strong on the floor. Then turn the standing leg, the leg towards your balance area, into a tree trunk. Not a tiny tree. I'm talking about a redwood. This is a big, strong tree. Start with your balance. Start with your hand on your balance. You can have your hand on your hip or try lifting it and take it forward. Lift the knee. Keep that foot flexed. Send it back. Could be there. It could be up here, all the way up. And back. What's right for you? And explore your balance. Inhale, lift forward. Exhale, take it back. Inhale, lift forward. Exhale, take it back. Inhale, lift forward. Exhale, take it back one more time. Inhale, lift forward. Exhale, take it back. Release that foot to the ground, hands to the hips. Hope everybody has gotten warm during this. And we're going to come back to our seat on the ground. Let's take a seat for just a moment here. It can be as usual on a blanket, on a block, whatever you need. Take a moment. And you may have your legs could be in Sukhasana, or if you have issues, if your knees are giving you story or telling you stories today, you can have your legs out, or you can come to Badakanasana if that's comfortable. You're just soles of the feet together and knees wide, whichever is approachable for you today. And let's take a moment here, sitting. Take your hands onto I'm going to come to the mid pose, which would be Sukhasana. You're welcome to do Badakanasana or knees wide. We're going to do a little bit of returning to a cat-cow motion in a seat here, just to recenter ourselves. So with an exhale, erase. With an inhale, lift up from the seat. Let the belly rise, the shoulders go back. Exhale, and as if you're a modern dancer doing a contraction, roll a little forward. Inhale and feel the motion of your spine as you change position to the little bit of arch here, little tiny back bend. And exhale and feel the roll as you come back. I always feel like this is the motion of the sea. A slow, lazy lapping of a tropical wave, rolling and then flattening out on the beach. Let's do two more. And then find the exact center of those two poses, the forward and backward motion, which is a straight spine flowing up through your seat. We'll do a little bit of a gentle twist here to finish with before we come to the floor. Just take the arms out to the side, straight out, and lift up from this heavy, beautiful, grounded seat, up through the waist, the side ribs, up through the sternum. In breath, and then gently twist to the right, just using your muscles today. And let your hands come down. Breath lifts you up, almost a slight arch in your back. It's so erect. And with the exhale, you can explore what room there is to continue your twist. One more breath. And inhale to the front. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, arms to the side and twist the opposite direction with your exhale. Lower the hands to the ground. Inhale. Again, with the inhale, lift way up from the hips. Exhale. See if you have any more room for that twist. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. On the next inhale, return to the front. From here, we're coming to flat on our backs. So you can move that blanket to the side. If your blocks are on your mat, you won't need them again. And stretch. Well, we're not going to stretch out. We're coming onto the backs with the knees bent, feet on the floor, and walk your feet to the side of your mat so there's a nice wide space between your feet. These are still bent. Let's take the hands out to the side and repeat those windshield wipers. This time, if you'd like to bend your arms to the rectangular position and grab the elbows, you can, and repeat the windshield wipers to release through the IT bands and the front of your legs just a little bit before we come to final Shavasana. Use your breath. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Come to the center and consider if there's anything else you need before Shavasana. If you want to take happy baby for a moment, or just bring your knees in wide, rock across your pelvis. And when you are ready, prepare for your Shavasana. I always like a folded blanket under the knees. You're welcome, of course, to keep your knees lifted to the sky, bent. You're welcome to take your legs onto a piece of furniture. Please put on another layer of clothing or a blanket if your home is cool so that you can relax. And as I begin Shavasana, you're welcome to come to your Shavasana and turn off your device and have a really long Shavasana. It's a lovely thing to do on a winter day. We have a fairly long time for Shavasana today, but you could have a 20-minute Shavasana if you have time. So get yourself set. And if you would like to say goodbye now, goodbye. I'll see you next week. Namaste. If you are continuing with me, I will call you out in time to go on with your day, and we'll have time for a moment, a minute or two of meditation together today. So stretch out as best suits you. Return to that survey of your breath and your body on the floor. Tuck those shoulder blades under, flatten the back of your pelvis. Check in with your jaw. See how your jaw is doing. Are you clenching? Check in with your hands. Are your hands tired? Do they need a moment of wiggling or massage? Your feet. Sigh your breath out. That's relaxing and helpful to you. Let the room around you fade away. The sounds of the house, the sounds from outside as your eyes close or relax. Let your eyes fall back in your head. The breath flow through you like a lazy river. Every place that your body touches the ground, you begin to soften and release so that more and more of your body is in contact with the ground. And that slow, constant rhythm of your heart and your breath takes you quietly to that serene place in the center of your being. If you'd like to join me in a seat for a moment of quiet breathing in an upright position, please begin to reawaken your body. Be gentle. Take your time. Do what you need to do to come comfortably up to a seat. And when you arrive there, you can close your eyes or take your gaze softly in front of you if that works better for you. And observe your breath in this other position. The quiet and the steadiness. Thank you all for being with me. Thank you for taking care of yourself. Please continue to do so. Stay warm. Namaste. And as always, if you want to turn off and continue with your meditation, this is a lovely time to do it. I'm also going to stop the recording. Goodbye, folks.